had chipped at it for hours without a dent yet. This ruined weapon had torn it open in a single blow. For a heartbeat, silence held them. Then the air erupted. Now, the tank roared. Spells flew, blades struck, arrows rained. Level up, level up, again and again, until Kael had climbed 14 steps higher than before. His wounds knit, his lungs filled with strength. The serpent's corpse dissolved into mist, leaving behind a single fang gleaming like black glass. The wolfbow's rune ignited in his chest, fire spreading through his veins. His vision narrowed until there was only him and the serpent, predator and prey. Overwhelming power, that's what rules this world. His voice cracked into a roar. I can do that. No, I've already been to the edge of death and back. Kael's voice cracked as he pressed his back against the damp cavern wall, sweat running into his eyes. I won't let you take this from me. I won't die here, not like this. His blade arm trembled. He had poured every point of the wolfbow's mark into strength, and yes, it made his muscles feel lighter, sharper, more dangerous. But staring into the glowing eyes of the pale hound's fangs long as daggers, claws scraping stone, Kael knew it wasn't nearly enough. His attacks glanced off their hides, his cuts shallow, his breathing ragged. No guardian, no healer, just me and my rations, he muttered bitterly, pulling at his satchel. Water and dried meat, nothing else. Brilliant, Kael. You've walked into a cursed pit with nothing but snacks. His laugh sounded hollow, swallowed by the growls circling him. For a moment, despair clawed at him. If only he had a relic, a true weapon forged with magic, something that could bite back. Then he remembered inventory. Open, he commanded, voice echoing against stone. A shimmer of blue light formed before him, revealing what he thought impossible. His eyes widened. How is Rusk's sword in here? He remembered the blacksmith's weary smile, the grizzled man calling it his life's pride. A weapon he had spent 3 million ash coins to acquire, far beyond Kael's means. And yet, the blade rested there, gleaming, waiting. Rusk, Kael whispered, his throat tight. Guess I'll borrow this one. The moment his fingers curled around the hilt, the pain in his battered body dulled, strength flowing into his limbs like molten fire. The pale hound's snarls no longer paralyzed him. Not so scary now, are you? With a roar, he lunged, steel bit deep, but the weapon stuck fast between bone and sinew. Come on, move. You call yourselves steel fangs for a reason, huh? He wrenched the blade free with a shout. Fine. If it's fangs you want, then fangs I'll take. One beast fell, then another. Kael's movements blurred, strength surging. He felt the rune of ascension flare within his chest, marking his victory. Level up. The words weren't spoken, yet they rang in his soul. His wounds closed, his breathing steadied, his strength sharpened further. I leveled. Until now, completing the wolfbow's daily trials never raised his level, only granted fragments of strength. But real combather, bite of steel, the taste of blood that triggered true growth. Stats increased one by one, muscles coiled tighter, vision sharpened. Kael felt his body lighten as if the dungeon itself had recognized him. So this is it. Each battle is a climb. 5 points for each victory, while the daily marks only gave me 3. He laughed, almost in disbelief. If fighting's the path forward, then fighting's what I'll do. He flexed his fingers, marveling at the speed coursing through him. With just 32 points in strength, his body already felt reborn, and if this power truly had no ceiling, then unlimited potential. Kael whispered, I can rise as far as I dare. Still, caution gnawed at him. He had slain only a handful of beasts. The pale hounds lay in a broken heap around him, leaving behind their cracked fangs and shredded hides. No shimmering essence stones, no glittering treasures, just the grim spoils of tooth and claw. Guess this dungeon follows game rules, not life's, Kael muttered, collecting his prizes. When he opened the wolfbow's shop, he was met with another sting of reality. Beginner locked, access denied, TCH of course. He sold what he could, fangs and hides netting, a mere 20 ash coins. In a dungeon of this rank, it was little more than pocket change, and yet, survival was more valuable than any gold. To leave, he knew he must face the dungeon's ruler. No waystones to teleport, no food to linger. The choice was set in stone. His hand tightened on Rusk's blade, now chipped and bloodied. B-rank or not, I don't think I can topple a boss alone, not yet. But maybe, his eyes burned. If I climb higher, if I level again, I might stand a chance. Fear and resolve warred within him. He remembered the day he had nearly died, the day the wolfbow's mark branded him. Death had touched him once before, but he had crawled back from the abyss. I shouldn't be afraid. I've already died once. If I fall again, I'll fall fighting. He squared his shoulders, stepping deeper into the dark. Come, then. Give me your best. I'll meet it with everything I have. The tunnel sloped downward, the air thickening with a foul stench that clung to Kael's throat. His perception sharpened by the wolfbow's mark was no longer just an instinct. It was a voice inside him, whispering danger, shivering across his skin like cold wind. Something vast lurked below. Something older than the pale hounds, stronger than the guardians that prowled the upper floors. Each step drew Kael closer, until the cavern opened into a wide basin flooded with dark water, and from that mire it rose. Scales glistened, slick and black, thick as iron plates. Fangs like spears jutted from a mouth large enough to swallow him whole. The beast's eyes twin embers glowing green locked on him, unblinking. The dread serpent of Ashfen swamp. Kael's grip tightened on Rusk's sword, but a bitter truth cut through him. No human-forged weapon could pierce hide like that. Even before the blade's edge dulled, he knew it was useless here. One strike from the serpent, and he would be pulp on the cavern floor. His mind screamed at him to flee, to use the teleport stone he had earned earlier, to escape with his life intact. But his heart burned hotter. If he turned back now, would he ever find another chance like this to grow? To cast off the chains of weakness that had shackled him his whole life? Damn it, he hissed. I won't be the laughingstock anymore. Not now, not after this far. The serpent struck a tidal wave of muscle and fury. Kael dove aside, the impact rattling the cavern, shards of rock cutting into his cheek. His blood mixed with swamp water, but he forced his legs to move, rolling to his feet. His blade flashed, sparking off impenetrable scales. The serpent roared, tail lashing, slamming him into the stone. Pain exploded across his ribs, the breath nearly torn from him. For a heartbeat he almost gave in almost. But then memory struck, that cursed day in the ruins. The terror, the humiliation, the helplessness, the whispers of other hunters, the weakest of mankind. No more. His body trembled as he pushed against the stone. No more of that. I want strength. I need strength. The wolfbow's rune ignited in his chest, fire spreading through his veins. His vision narrowed until there was only him and the serpent, predator and prey. Overwhelming power, that's what rules this world. His voice cracked into a roar. If I don't take it, I'll always lose. Not anymore. He lunged again, this time not aiming for scales. He slid beneath its strike, drove his blade toward the softer flesh between its jaws. Sparks flew, steel shrieked, but the sword broke, shattered under the strain. Kael fell to his knees, clutching the broken hilt, despair threatening to drown him, but the serpent reeled, wounded for the first time. Its roar shook the cavern, and Kael's eyes widened. A wound, however small, he had hurt it. That's enough, he whispered. His lips curled into a grin stained with blood. If I can bleed you, I can kill you. The fight stretched into madness, dodging strikes that could crush stone. Kael used every ounce of strength, every scrap of cunning. He leaped, rolled, struck with shattered steel and his bare fists, each motion driven by defiance. Then that last stand opening, the serpent lunged more wide, and Kael surged forward, driving the broken blade into its throat with every ounce of strength he possessed. The beast convulsed, shrieking, its body thrashing the cavern into ruin. Kael held on, teeth clenched, until the light in its eyes flickered out. Silence. His body collapsed, every muscle screaming, yet within him, the rune of ascension blazed like a newborn star. Level up, level up, level up, again and again, until Kael had climbed 14 steps higher than before. His wounds knit, his lungs filled with strength. The serpent's corpse dissolved into mist, leaving behind a single fang gleaming like black glass, humming with dread power. Kael picked it up, trembling, a weapon, forged from your fang. The edge pulsed in his hand, radiating venomous energy. It was twice as strong as Rusk's sword, laced with paralysis and drain enchantments. Terrifying, yes, but his victory, his prize. He laughed half mad, half exhilarated. Compared to the terror of that day, this was nothing. For the first time, Kael didn't feel like the weakest hunter. He felt like someone the world would soon fear. The dungeon faded behind him like a ghost town, silent corridors, where death had nearly claimed him. Kael clutched his prize, the Serpent Fang Blade, its dark edge humming in his palm. He could barely tell how much time had passed. Hours, days. When he emerged into the surface world, the sky was heavy with smoke and the streets in chaos. Shouts echoed, horns blazed. Soldiers forced civilians away from the barricades. "You there?" a guard barked, spotting Kael. "No civilians past this line. Didn't you hear the broadcast?" Kael blinked, still reeling from his battle. Broadcast-eyed, he steadied himself, squared his shoulders. "I'm a hunter." The guard's tone shifted instantly, wary but respectful. "Then follow me, quickly." Kael walked among ruins, carriages overturned, buildings splintered. Hunters gathered ahead, battered and bloodied, their faces grim. A dungeon break had spilled its horrors into the city. "How many beasts remain?" Kael asked. "Most have been cold," the guard muttered. "But the boss, still alive, and it's not going down easy." Kael's sharpened perception needed no explanation. The presence pulsing nearby was immense, armored, heavy as the earth itself. When he saw it, his breath caught. A colossus of stone and iron stood at the heart of the ruins, each movement grinding like mountains colliding. Its eyes burned with runes, its chest glowed with a molten core. The Ironbound Guardian, dozens of hunters fought it, their blades and spells sparking harmlessly off its skin. Healers shouted incantations, pouring strength into exhausted tanks. But the creature's defense was absolute in yielding against everything they threw at it. "This is madness," one hunter cried. 8 Irangs, 2D, and only one of them can tank. "We'll be wiped. We're short on mages," another snarled. "No one can pierce its shell." Kael watched, silent. He recognized the desperation in their eyes. He had once worn it himself. A B-rank healer turned on her comrades, voice sharp with panic. "You're not hitting hard enough. Can't you see? We haven't cracked it once." Kael's hand tightened on the broken remnant of Rusk's sword he still carried. It was nothing but jagged steel now, yet his eyes narrowed. Maybe it doesn't need to be whole. The Guardian raised its arm, slamming down on the tank's shield. The ground split. The line nearly collapsed. Kael stepped forward. "Make way," he said quietly. Hunters turned, surprised by the stranger who looked little more than a straggler. His cloak torn, his blade broken, but his eyes burned. The Guardian moved again, heavy and unstoppable. Kael's breath slowed, muscles coiling with the strength of 14 assassins. The rune flared inside him, urging him on. He threw the broken sword. The shard spun through the air, gleaming once before striking the Guardian's glowing core. Crack, a shudder rang out. The barrier around the Ironbound Guardian shattered like glass. Hunters froze in disbelief. They had chipped at it for hours without a dent yet. This ruined weapon had torn it open in a single blow. For a heartbeat, silence held them. Then the air erupted. Now, the tank roared. Spells flew, blades struck, arrows rained. With its shield down, the Guardian staggered under the onslaught. The hunters pressed their advantage, driving it back. Among them, whispers rose. Who threw that blade? That ragged one there, him. Impossible. A straggler, with that kind of power. Kael said nothing. His chest still burned with the thrill of battle, with the knowledge of what he had done. He was no longer just the weakest hunter struggling to survive. He was the one who had turned the tide. As the Guardian fell, runes fading from its chest, Kael looked at his trembling hands. Not from fear, from exhilaration. This is only the beginning. The world might not know his name yet, but soon they would. W84 next part.